Hey everyone, I'm Amanda with Sweet Pieces and welcome to our Tuesday edition of Facebook Live. I am here today to answer any of your questions. So feel free to post any comments of any questions that you might have. I have a giant list of questions that you guys already sent me that I will be answering. And let's see how many. We got a lot today. We got a bunch, about 20 questions. It's 20 questions with Amanda. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes to jump on. I hope everybody had a really nice Memorial Day weekend. It was beautiful. It was a really nice weekend. My husband and I and my little baby daughter did a ton of yard work yesterday. It was my daughter's second experience putting down mulch, which she actually really enjoyed. Her feet were dyed black last night from walking through the mulch. So it was an interesting bath time last night. My bath water was pretty dirty. I'm curious. So my husband and I were talking about this yesterday. I'm not like a crazy organic person. I probably should be more so, but I do get like a little crazy with plastic and dyes and things like that. So I love the look of black mulch, but I hear that it has some like nasty dye in it. So I'm curious if you guys know of any other way to get black mulch without the dyes. I'm wondering if there's like an organic version of mulch. Who knows? I'm gonna have to Google that, because that's what I do for everything. If I don't know the answer, I just Google it. I don't know if I've shared that with you guys, but that is, definitely a secret weapon of mine. Although it's really not a secret at all. But literally, I hope that you've all done this. I'm sure everybody has. If you need to know anything, literally just Google it. Somebody has answered the question somewhere, whether it's they've done a video on it, or there's a blog post about it, or a whole business dedicated to it. Who knows? But the answers are definitely out there. So I would love to know what you guys did for Memorial Day weekend. It was a little different, of course. Normally we have like a family party, and that didn't happen this year, obviously. We also went upstate to our little cabin upstate, which was really fun and nice. We went for a couple days. So I'm curious what you guys did on your Memorial Day weekend. So how is everybody holding up? This is kind of a crazy week. We're supposed to be opening up phase 1 tomorrow, supposedly here on Long Island. I haven't seen anything official yet because, as you guys know, I don't sit and watch the news all the time. So it's a little crazy. I was just chatting with my team about, how do we do this? How do we go about reopening? And, we've had some chats about this. So we're getting our plans in place. We're getting ready. If we're opening phase 1 tomorrow, that means that we're probably going to be physically opening the store in about 2 weeks, for customers. So we're really excited about that. As you guys know, hopefully we are doing curbside pickup currently. So phase 1 is curbside pickup, but phase 1, I think the whole point of it, and I have to look a little further into this, is that we're allowed to have more than one person working in the store doing curbside pickup, whereas we've kind of been functioning this whole time just having John in the store. By the way, John, kudos to you. Thank you so much for all your hard work doing all those curbside pickups in the store. So we've been really fortunate that we've been able to stay open, but some of the bigger locations aren't able to do that with just one person staffed. But so we'll continue to do our curbside pickups and virtual consultations, which are free. You guys can just submit your information on the website, and we will get back to you with a list of products and techniques that you can do. By the way, kudos also to Julie for all the amazing content that she's been filling the website with, and also, working on those virtual consults. Quite a few of you have sent me emails or messages just telling me how amazing my team has been during this time. So thank you, Julie, for all of your hard work as well. But we've also just launched a bunch of new information on the website, technique guides. So technique guides like how-tos, kitchen cabinet guides, all about the paint lines that we carry, FAQs on, how to use different products. So definitely make sure that you're utilizing our website as a resource, when you're thinking about products or projects to work on, because it is a great resource. So I'm going to dive in here and start answering some questions. Some fun ones that we got today, some ones that are very different from what we've had before. So Lee, she actually spilled anti-slip chalk paint on her concrete front door landing. And she wants to know how she can remove the stain. So, the beauty of the fabulous lines of paint that we offer is that they do hold up really, really well. So if you do drop it on something, I will tell you, I had a similar situation on my driveway. I was impatient and didn't put down the proper drop cloth, and I sprayed brushable white enamel and stain blocking primer on my driveway, and it had a cutout of a china cabinet for some time. But I used my power washer. So if just scrubbing it with a really rough scrubby brush and some soap and water doesn't get it off, definitely use the power washer. It removes stain blocking primer and brushable white enamel, which are pretty dang hard to remove. So I think that using it to remove the chalk paint will definitely work. My mom's watching. Hi, Mom. I hope you're having a lovely day in Florida. I hope you had a good Memorial Day weekend. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question, Lee. So Charles says that he purchased this paint and supplies 2 years ago and didn't get to the project. And that happens so often. And part of it, I think, it's time. Like, we don't always have the time to do it, but I think part of it is also that people are afraid. They're afraid to start a project. And I just want you guys to know that there's nothing to be afraid of. I promise. There's 8 years we've been in business. I've never had a customer call me and say, that's it, I've ruined it, it's done, it's over, there's nothing I could do to fix it. So it's just paint. If you don't like the way it looks, we can redo it. And it's very, very easy. That's the whole point of Sweet Pieces, is that it's easy for us to do it. So jump in, Charles, and get started. He's asking, is it still good to use? It absolutely should be, as long as you have stored it properly. So you never want to store it, where it can freeze. So definitely the garage is not a good place unless your garage is heated. So you can definitely store it in a basement or, in your home. And as long as you do so, and it's temperature controlled, your paint is A-okay for a very, very long time. So Laura is asking, she's confused about when to use wax versus a wash. And she's asking if it's just aesthetics. So Laura, wash is a technique, and waxing is a way to seal your product. Now, if you use the colored waxes, dark, brown, black, white, those can create a washed type of a look, but less consistent. So your colored waxes are going to create a less consistent wash effect or an antiquing effect, whereas a wash can be very consistent and kind of create the look of like a glaze. So as far as like when to use one over the other, it is a choice of aesthetics, but it's also it should be based on the actual piece. So if it were kitchen cabinets, I wouldn't recommend doing a colored wax because it's hard to maintain it if you're doing a lot of scrubbing and cleaning. So a wash, which is basically going to be buried under your top coat, wax in this case, it would be protected, which is what you want. If it were just like a side table or something like that, then yeah, you could definitely choose between the wash or the wax, and you could go either route. That would be A-okay. So hopefully that helps, Laura. Hopefully that answers your question. So Kathy asked if we finish furniture that is dropped off to us, or do you have to do it yourself? So this is a great question. We actually do both. So we are happy to, and this is something that I think sets Sweet Pieces apart from, a lot of businesses out there. And, when we created our company, there really was no roadmap for us because there was really no other business that was like us. So we've kind of developed this whole concept. And what I really wanted to be for people is a place that you could come and get inspired. And we can either empower you to learn it and do it yourself, or you could have the confidence in us to do it for you. So, you know, I went to school to be a math teacher. I always had an inclination towards design and decoration, but I never felt that I could really do it because I wasn't formally trained in it at one point in time. So I went back to school and got the schooling that I needed to kind of at least get a jump start. And then, you know, we've been on this journey ever since. So, you know, my whole thing is I love being a DIYer. You know, I've been a DIYer since I was like, I mean, literally as far as I could possibly remember. I remember being like 12 and like stenciling my room and buying a comforter that matched the stencil on my wall. I mean, I've been doing this for as long as I can remember. So part of my passion is showing others that you can do it yourself. So that's really at the core of what we do, but we also create beautiful work ourselves. I have a very talented team of people. And so we can absolutely create something for you if you don't have the confidence to do it yourself, or if you just want the Sweet Pieces touch in your house. So we can absolutely do that for you, whether it's, you know, kitchens, if it's a dining room, if it's something you can drop off to us. So we always prefer to have it in the store. So if it's something you can drop off to us, then that's great. If it's something like a kitchen or a dining set that you can't necessarily bring in, then we can definitely give you a quote on how to do it in the house. And we do have people that can come out to the house and do that for you. So yes, Kathy, either way, we are happy to help you with your projects. And, you know, sometimes people will come in and they'll say, how much to do this dresser? And, you know, we're not giving you a DIY price, because when we do it, we're going to do it right. It's going to be beautiful and perfect. So it is, you know, it's not inexpensive to do it, but it's worth it because it will last you for years to come. If you say, ooh, that's a little out of my budget, I'm not going to be offended, because I'm going to tell you, okay, this is how you can do it yourself. And you can absolutely then go ahead and tackle it on your own for a fraction of the price. But either way, we are totally happy to guide you along your journey, whatever that is, whether it's DIY or having us do it custom. Okay, so next question is from Anne, and she'd like to have her kitchen cabinets painted, her oak kitchen cabinets. So Anne, I hope you're watching, and if you are, I hope that you saw the kitchen cabinets that I did for my mother-in-law a couple weeks ago. They were also oak. They had a lot of grain to them, and the General Finishes product was really fantastic at filling in all the grain and just making these cabinets look modern and beautiful, and they were spectacular. So, yes, you can either have us do it for you. We could get you a quote to do that. And how you would do that is you would send us an email with your information. Some pictures would be great so that we can see how much we need to paint, you know, how many cabinets. And then also, if you can provide us with some inspiration photos on like how you want it to look, then that will help us to get you a proper quote. So you can send those over to huntington@sweetpieces.com, and somebody will get back to you within 48 hours. Okay, so Claudia has a question about wax. So she applied 2 coats of clear wax, Jolie wax, to a newly painted desk about a week ago and buffed it. The shine on the desktop is not consistent. So she doesn't know if it's due to the texture on the top. She painted it every which way. And then, or should she just apply another coat of wax now or continue to buff it? So Claudia, even if you paint it every which way, it shouldn't really be, the shine on the desk is not consistent. I mean, so this is kind of twofold. So when you say it's not consistent, does it look dull in some spots and shiny in other, or is it just overall shiny, but you see like brush strokes going every which way? So if it's shiny all over, but you see brush strokes going every which way, that is due to the fact that you painted it textured, which can look really beautiful, and I love that look. If if it's that some areas are dull and some areas are shiny, it's probably that those areas that are dull don't have any wax on them. So then yes, I would say that another coat of wax is probably the cure, and then just go ahead and you know, buff it out. Okay, so Alyssa asked, what are my favorite places to look for color and design inspiration? So this is a really easy one for me because I do this pretty much on a daily basis. Houzz is probably my all-time favorite, HOUZZ.com. Every photo on Houzz just is beautiful. They're all very well curated. They're beautifully shot. It's very easy to see things. You know, most high-end designers post on Houzz, so it's really a great way to see some very professional looking work. So that's definitely a top source for me. Pinterest is another one. And, you know, use these tools. Like I go on Houzz and, you know, I'm working on my mother-in-law's kitchen. So she's redoing it. So she's getting a new backsplash. She's getting a new countertop. She's getting, we painted her cabinets. You know, we added some wood elements, some, you know, onlays and corbels and things because she loves the frilly, frou-frou stuff. So, you know, I created an idea book, Tracy's Kitchen. You know, I would go on Pinterest and I'll create a board, Tracy's Kitchen. And I just start pinning things to those places. And it's a really good, you know, visual. It's simple. It's so easy to just go back and look at it. For a while, I was using bookmarks on like just your browser, your web browser. And that's like a pain in the butt. Whoever invented Pinterest was really quite brilliant to be able to create like a visual pin board of your inspirations. So now you can, you know, take each piece of hardware, instead of having a bookmark for each one, you can, you know, physically see it on a board in Pinterest and then click through and go to the site, which I'm sure everybody knows what Pinterest is by now. So yeah, those are definitely two of my most favorite ways to get inspiration. I also love like coffee table books, design books. We have a bunch of them in the shop, so I utilize that a lot. A couple of our vendors sell coffee table books, and most of them are vintage, and you know, you can really find some beautiful inspiration from vintage books. So that's definitely another way that I find design inspiration. So Lillian asked, she is asking about an old metal table bottom. It has a design pressed into it. It's in one piece. And she says it's always something that she was going to refurbish, but she never did. It was probably for outdoors, but could be used inside also. She doesn't want to throw it away. And she doesn't know anybody that she could give it to or give it away. So here, I'll give you a couple options here, Lillian. So we do take furniture. We don't take everything. If we took everything, our store would be inundated with tons of stuff, which we don't want. We want to just inspire you with the things that we know we can transform. So we do get calls a lot from people that are, you know, like they're moving out of the house tomorrow and they have, you know, a few pieces of furniture. And a lot of times we can, you know, at least compensate them somehow, and get it out of the house quickly for them. People do drop things off for us as well. But I would say, Lillian, if you want to post a photo of it, maybe in the comments, I don't know, maybe one of our watchers will want to grab it. I would also say, you know, utilize Facebook Marketplace. You can also post it on there for free or even for a small fee. And I'm sure somebody would absolutely love to have it. So thank you for offering that up. So Andrea asked, how do I paint black chalk paint on my white wall? Just the size of a large mirror. Will it bleed? Do I tape it first? So yeah, so Andrea, you can absolutely use Jolie chalk style paint or the other chalk type paints that are out on the market to paint a wall. We've actually done that quite a few times. It works beautifully on a wall. It's really easy to do, and I've actually used a brush most times. It goes on so fast, so easy, and it dries so quick. It's super simple. So yeah, I would just tape it off. Make sure you use a good painter's tape, and it shouldn't bleed. A lot of times what we do to avoid bleed through, here's a little pro tip. We put our painter's tape on. So let's say you're painting on a white wall. If you happen to have that paint that you use to paint it white, once you put up your tape, quickly paint a little section over the tape. So now the tape edge is painted in the same color as a wall. That basically seals the tape. You can paint over it with your whatever else, chalk paint or whatever else. And then that white paint has acted as a seal, so you won't get any kind of bleed through. And then once you peel it off, you'll have your nice crisp line. So that's a little pro tip, but easy peasy to do that. So Kathy asked if she could drop off a small bench to have us paint it and replace the cushion. So yes, absolutely, Kathy. We do paint furniture, like I mentioned, and we can paint your bench for you. We can also do the reupholstery, replacing cushions, whatever. We can use your fabric, or you can choose a fabric that we have in the store. We have several bolts in the store of some really beautiful fabrics, and then we also have tons and tons of books of literally every fabric you could possibly dream of. So we can help you with all of that. So Lori is asking, she's hoping my family is well, and yes, everyone here at home is healthy, which I'm very, very grateful for. You know, I've along this whole COVID thing, we've talked to so many people, and you know, lots of people are healthy, and then there's others that are ill, and it's really sad. And you know, it's, you know, people even aren't just ill from the disease, but just from the virus, but also, you know, from being home and being secluded and isolated, and this whole situation is just, it's crazy and it's scary, and oh, it's just crazy. Anyway, Lori is asking if I've ever had any experience painting over floor tiles. So yes, we've done lots of floors, tile, wood, concrete, and it's all totally doable with our amazing products. So easy peasy. I mean, really, you got to clean it, you paint it, you seal it. The things that you want to watch out for is with our floor varnish, you want to just make sure you're following the directions on the can. You have to make sure you're stirring these products really, really well. You know, the agents kind of float to the bottom and they sit there. So if you don't properly stir it, then it can definitely mess up your finish. So you want to make sure that you're stirring it for the appropriate amount of time, several minutes, a lot of times. And you want to make sure that you're not going to get any yellowing happening with the lacquer product, with the floor varnish. And where you want to be hesitant about that is when you're painting really light colors. So if you're intending on painting a white floor, like painting, let's say, wood or tile white, you have to be a little extra cautious with your preparation. So you want to make sure that you're either using stain blocking primer as a base, using some sort of shellac or something on the wood, and then, you know, doing all of your steps properly. But yeah, really super easy. And the other thing with tile, especially floor, you want to make sure that you're using that what you're working on has a little bit of texture to it. That's always going to take the paint better. So if your tile is super smooth and glossy, that's not going to take quite as well as like a ceramic that has like a little bit of texture in it. So texture in the tile is always going to have your product hold up better. So definitely go for it, Lori, and send us your before and after pictures. So Maria here, she's interested in using chalk style paint for 2 end tables and a corner piece. She wants to do them in beige with a brown walnut top. Beige with a brown walnut top. Got it. I've previously done this with other pieces and have leftover paint in the store, half a can. Can I use this for the top? I wanted the tops to be shiny. Is it possible to do this with other pieces? I also need some brown finishing wax. Okay, so yeah, you can definitely, she has some Annie Sloan left over. I hope you guys know we no longer carry Annie Sloan. We do have some products still left in the store, which is on clearance at the moment. We switched to Jolie chalk style paint. It's a long story, but basically Annie Sloan moved her manufacturing from the United States to Europe. The new product that was coming in from Europe was very different from what myself, my team, and my customers were used to using. So we felt the very best decision for our customers was to switch to the Jolie product, which is actually made by the same manufacturer that made the US version of Annie Sloan that we always carried. So it feels very familiar to what everybody is used to, and we are happy to stand behind that product. So, but Maria has a can of Annie Sloan left over, which is totally fine. You can use that. If you want your tops to be shiny, there's a couple different things that you can do. So you can either use like the brown chalk style paint, and then you could do a gloss finish over it, the high performance top coat that we carry from General Finishes in a gloss. We also carry furniture varnish in which is made by Jolie, and that comes in two sheens, low luster and gloss. So you could definitely use the gloss varnish for the brown tops to make them glossy. And what else did she want to do? She needs some brown finishing wax, which we have now available in it's in Jolie, and it's called brown wax, and it's fantastic. So one of the things that did change pretty dramatically when we switched from Annie Sloan to Jolie is that the waxes were very different. So these new waxes from Jolie are non-hazardous and no odor. So they have different types of waxes and a different type of solvent in them that literally it smells like nothing, or they almost smell like crayons actually. So it's really quite wonderful, and they're really, really buttery, so they move around the furniture so easily. It goes on so easy. No more tennis elbow when you're doing your waxing. So it's a really, that was like one of the exciting changes. So yeah, you can either use the Annie Sloan wax that you have, which is going to be different from the Jolie, or you can use the Jolie wax on top of the old Annie Sloan paint. Either or would be totally fine. So yeah, so also Maria needs cleaners. She has clear wax left over. She also has her brushes. So that's the beauty when you buy your supplies and you invest in those supplies. When you move forward with new projects, you only just need to invest in your paint and maybe some additional waxes. So yeah, we are here for you, Maria. If you need guidance on what paints to buy or what cleaners, you can always shoot us over a virtual consultation or a message, and we will be happy to get back to you. So we have Marn. Marn asked, she has two large pieces of gray glossy Formica furniture, and she wants to paint them in an oak color. She wants to paint them in an oak color, bull chalk paint. Yeah, so we've done quite a few Formica pieces in the Jolie paint, and let me tell you, it's amazing. So you can absolutely use the paint on Formica, which is fantastic. She's asking if she should sand it. So I definitely would use the crud cutter. That's important. The pre-paint cleaner to go ahead and degloss the surface and also get off all of the grease, grime, oil, sludge buildup, anything that might be on there. But if you wanted to, you could definitely just give it a light sanding just to kind of scuff it up and break that surface tension. I've done pieces for clients, like I've done built-ins, Formica built-ins for a client, and I did lightly scuff it before I did it just because I really wanted to make sure that it stuck. So it's up to you. If I were doing it for myself, Marn, I probably wouldn't have sanded it down. So it's really kind of up to you. But, you don't have to get crazy. You certainly don't have to, get out the hand sander and get crazy. You could just use a piece of sandpaper just to scuff it up. But yeah, you're going to use all the same, processes. Basically, you're just cleaning it, you're painting it, you're sealing it. It's super, super easy. So I would say go for it. Okay, so Angela has a maple wood dresser. By the way, maple wood is fabulous. It's super heavy, but it paints really beautifully. It doesn't have a lot of grain to it, so it's really nice for those more smooth modern finishes. So it was painted white and stripped down to the natural wood. The dresser was never waxed. The top of the dresser has water stains. Would clear wax remove them? So Angela, I'm not sure if you're saying it was stripped and then painted white with like a chalk style paint, or did you use latex paint? If you use chalk style paint and you never waxed it, and now there's like water stains on it, the best thing to do would be to just throw another quick coat of the paint over it, because if you have waxed something and you get stains on it, you can use wax to erase the stains. But if you use just the paint, you don't wax it, you can't use the wax to remove the stains, because the stains are almost, at that point, they're in the paint. When you get a stain on top of your wax, your stain is in your wax. So then you can use the wax to remove it and touch it up. So I would say just throw another quick coat of paint on there, and then you could go ahead and wax over it. Make sure you wax it this time. Okay. So another question from Angela. She's asking that when Sweet Pieces classes resume, how will they be structured with COVID-19? And what will be some of the classes be that you'll be offering? So Angela, you know, as of now, we're gonna obviously be following all the CDC guidelines on social distancing and wearing masks, and providing masks for customers in the store if they don't have them. You know, having antibacterial stations all around the store, providing clean bathrooms and surfaces and all that good stuff for people. As far as classes, so we recently had a new table built for our workshop room. It is a ginormous table. It's about 6 foot by 6 foot. And isn't it funny that those are the dimensions of it? So we could easily have probably about 4 people in each of our classes, where they're going to be 6 feet apart. So that's probably what we'll be doing, is we'll be offering some more intimate classes until the CDC guidelines kind of loosen up a little bit. And what are the classes that we're going to be offering? We're going to be offering some of the great classes we've always been offering. You know, how to paint your furniture, how to do different techniques, driftwood techniques, how to use glaze, how to use the crackles. So we'll definitely be doing, you know, some of the fantastic classes that we've always done. If you guys have any ideas on classes that you would like to see or things that you would like to learn, we are always open. We can very easily develop new classes. So if there's anything that you guys want to learn out there, please definitely leave us a message, or shoot us an email or from the website. We would love to hear what you guys are looking to learn. So Christine had a question about how to hang things on the wall and have them be level. When is a nail, just a nail, okay? And when is it good to use Molly bolts? So, okay. So when I am hanging art, and I just want to use a simple nail, it's got to be something really lightweight. Like I'm holding it in my hand and I can easily lift it up and down. So I guess that's my test. If it's something that's fairly lightweight, then a nail is going to be totally fine. And I always like to, when I'm putting a nail in the wall, I always angle it slightly so that, like, if this were the wall, it's kind of just sticking up ever so slightly, because that gives you just a little bit of additional traction for that nail. So if it's lightweight, definitely go ahead and just use a nail. When it's heavier, or I mean, really, that's it. Like if it's a heavier object and you need 2 hands to pick it up, basically you probably need to use some sort of an anchor or a Molly bolt. I think a Molly bolt is probably more so for things that are quite a bit heavy, like a large mirror, things like that. So I do use those plastic anchors quite often. You need a couple of tools to be able to do that. You need a drill. You need a drill that has a drill bit, and then also like a screwdriver tip. So 2 quick and easy things. You should get it with your drill when you buy a drill. So you'll drill a small hole into the wall, and then you will hammer in your little plastic anchor, and then you will basically screw your screw into the anchor. So if you are a woman or a man, either or, who has not attempted to hang your own artwork, it's really easy to do if you just kind of get your head on straight and figure out the actual products that you need. So my dad has taught me a lot about hanging. John Scarola's taught me a lot about hanging. So don't be afraid to do it. I've actually probably hung most everything in my own home. And I've done a lot at the store as well. So it is easy once you kind of get the hang of it and you make it, you know, drill in a hole in the wall and stick in an anchor in. Super, super easy. And then, you know, you do want to kind of follow guidelines for whatever is on the back of the piece. So if the back of the piece has 2 D-rings, usually you really should hang it with both of those. And a lot of times what will happen is if you put a wire between those 2 pieces, what happens is it pulls away from the wall. So now your piece of art isn't sitting flush against the wall. It's kind of pulling off this way. If you hang it on both of the D-rings, then it will sit nice and flush. So you kind of want to think about that. Sometimes in the store, we will throw a picture wire on it and just hang it on the wall just because it's easier, and it's not in our home. Like, it's going to move around and it's going to come off the wall soon because people buy art. But when you're hanging it in the house, you should, you know, follow the directions of whatever's on the back of it. So how do I get it to be level? So that's another question. So it depends. If you need to hang it from 2 areas, then a lot of times what I do is I'll measure from the wall. So I'll measure from the top of the wall down, and then the top of the wall down. And then as long as you're getting both of those measurements right, then it's going, you know, you're going to be on the same height, which you don't even need a level at that point because you know that it's going to be level. That is, of course, if your walls are level. So you'll kind of want to, like, take a look at your wall. If you can see noticeably that it's not level, then if you use that technique to hang your art, you're going to see it. But if you look at the wall and it looks pretty level, like you can see like your molding or the top of the wall, you can kind of tell if it's not level. Like in our building, nothing is level, so we can't really use that trick. So we eyeball it a lot, or we use an actual level to figure that out. And that's sometimes when you need 2 hands, because you got to have somebody kind of holding it, get it level. And then what we do is we mark it. So we'll mark the top of it, where we want the top to go. So now we know that's where the top is. Okay, follow me. Let me see if I can find something for you guys. Let's see. What can I pull off the wall for you? Hold on. Okay, so here's something. So this is a beautiful picture of my husband and I when we got married. And it's very dusty. I'm so embarrassed. But basically, this has 2 D-rings. And this, it's said to hang by D-rings only. I didn't listen to it. I know I just told you to do that. But this really isn't heavy. It's fairly light. So what you would do is you would measure the top. You would mark your line. Okay, so now you have your straight line. And you can pull this off the wall. Now you're going to measure from the top of this to the top of your ring, like where this is going to hang. Or in this case, to the top of the center. So if from here to here, this is 3 inches down. So then I would look at my line on the wall, and then I would actually place my nail or my hook 3 inches down from here. If you were going to here, this is probably 6 inches. So I would measure 6 inches down. I would measure the distance between the 2 D-rings. So let's say this is 15 inches. I would come over 15 inches from the other side of my line, and then, you know, just measure down the 6 inches. So it's all about, I mean, I keep saying this, like, math is so important. And I know as a kid, like, I hated math, but it really is so important because it's in everything we do. And the nice thing about math is there's no gray area. It's either right or it's wrong. So if you can just figure out the math of it, it is very, very simple. So again, you take your line, you draw a line where you want your picture to go, you pull the picture down, and now you just measure the back. You measure 6 inches down, it's 15 inches apart. It's very easy to make those marks, throw the screws in the wall, and you're good to go. You're not gonna have any mistakes. So hopefully those tips work for you. I've also done things like where I've put like toothpaste on the back and then tried to mark the wall. I mean, it's so silly. If you just use math, you really can't get it wrong. So easy peasy. Diane asked, Diane didn't have a question. She just wanted to let me know that Julie was awesome and helped her so much and was very quick at answering questions. And I've heard that so much. The same thing about John in the store. So again, I'm thanking my amazing team for all of the hard work that they've put in. It's been pretty awesome. So thank you, thank you. I know I have a couple of questions here in the comments, so let me answer those. Jane Ann, hi Jane Ann, how are you? She's asking if you can paint micro suede fabric. So the answer is you can. I'm always going to have recommendations on painting fabric based on what it is. So if it is your main sofa and it has loose cushions on it, I don't usually like to recommend that you paint those things. When you have things like this chair here, see how this is a tight cushion? This is called a tight back. I can't take this cushion off. It's on the actual piece. So anything that has a tight cushion, or a lot of times the seat will have that as well. These are great options for painting. If it's something that's loose, like for instance, the seat on this chair is loose. It's a loose cushion. Even though it's tight, it's not like lumpy and pulling away, I still don't really like to paint these types of things because you're really soaking that fabric down and you're letting the paint kind of absorb in and you're getting it very wet. I get hesitant about painting that kind of stuff because I just feel like the dyes can kind of be in the surface for a long time and then you're sitting on them and squishing it, and I don't like that. So Jane Ann's commenting that it's a headboard. So yeah, like that's a great option for painting. Things that are kind of stationary, they're going to stay there. I don't recommend like painting your easy chair that you sit in every night and scarf down popcorn and Pringles and, wipe greasy hands all over. So those are the types of things I don't really like to recommend painting. But things like headboards, benches, occasional chairs. One of our team members, Victoria, actually painted a pair of flame stitch settees that they came out amazing, but they're like in her formal living room that don't really get a lot of use. Like people sit there a couple of times a year during, holidays and things like that. So that kind of stuff is totally fine. So yeah, Jane Ann, you could definitely give it a shot. So the one thing I will say though about suede and velvet is that it has a nap. So it lays in a certain direction. And then when you rub it another way, it has another direction. So when you're painting it, you need to be mindful of the nap and you need to go in all different directions to basically paint everything. So the other thing about suedes and velvets is that they can potentially crack. So they might, depending on how much you layer that paint on, your nap might kind of lay in different directions and it might like start to crackle, and it's a very, very cool look, but you just kind of have to be mindful that it might happen with those types of fabrics. So give it a shot. Let us know how it goes, Jane Ann. Okay, so let's see. I had a couple other questions. So Anna commented about us changing paint lines. Yep, we're very open about it. If you guys ever, have questions about it, feel free to reach out to us. But yeah, we just felt it was really the best choice for our customers. It was a hard decision for us, but our customers they always come first. So Eileen commented, Eileen, I did not have one more minute before this video to answer you, but you are on my list. So I will be getting back to you. So she's asking if we can she's finalizing a sectional with us and she wants to do a one-on-one visit with at our store. So that's also one of the reasons I haven't gotten back to you yet, because I haven't gotten official word yet. So I am going to definitely let you guys know when we could do one-on-one visits. And even if we can't do an in-person visit, Eileen, we will absolutely do something virtually, but we'll get you in there to get that ordered for you. So Elizabeth asked if we paint upholstery. So we've talked a little bit about that on this segment here. So yeah, absolutely. We can paint upholstery. So we won't do it for you. That is one thing that we won't do because fabric is so different. There's so many different types of fabrics and the paint takes to fabrics, every type of fabric differently. So it's almost impossible for us to know how it's going to take. So we don't do custom work with painted upholstery. but we can certainly guide you, and it is a fairly easy process. So we feel confident we can definitely guide you in the right direction. We also have a YouTube channel where we literally have, I don't know, hundreds of videos on how to do pretty much everything with our products. So painting fabric is one of the videos on there, and we do go through it step by step. So definitely have a peek at that, Elizabeth. And Valerie is asking if we're going to be doing a video talk on window treatment. So this is definitely on the docket. This week, Thursday, we're actually going to be doing another shop tour, and I'm pretty excited about that. But next week, for sure, we will be doing a video on window treatment. So I don't know if you guys have heard, if you've been following along, but we recently took over the decorating department at ABOFS. And so we're basically, we're running the department right now, which at ABOFS, they do window treatments, they do Hunter Douglas products, they do custom window treatments. So, you know, Roman shades and valances and drapery panels and, you know, all that good stuff, anything that you can basically create with fabric. They also do wallpaper. They have an amazing wallpaper department. So all of those products will also be available to our amazing Sweet Pieces customers. So yeah, we're definitely planning a window treatment talk, and we'll be going over all the different types of window treatments that you can get, and you know, kind of guidance on what to do with your window treatments. One thing I will say, window treatments, they're a little bit of an investment. Like, they can be expensive, but they can completely change the look of a room, the look of a house, the feel of a house, and they can really provide you with energy saving benefits. You know, now with Hunter Douglas, they have all of these motorization options. So you can, I mean, it's really just amazing what you can do with your window treatments. You can program your shades to, you know, go up at a certain time so that you wake up to the sunlight. You can, you know, program your shades so that they go up and down if you're away from home, so it looks like you're there. There are and then, you know, you can get thermal and insulated window treatments so that you're saving on your energy bills while also making your house look beautiful. So there's tons of options, and I definitely think if you're thinking about window treatments, you know, you should really think about it as an investment, because it really can completely change the look of your home. Also, if you go to resell your home and you have at least basic window treatments, that's definitely going to add value to the house, because it is an investment to you know, get a house full of window treatments for sure. So yes, Valerie, stand by. We'll be doing that next week sometime. So Donna says, your encouragement to become comfortable with being uncomfortable is so true for so many situations in life, including painting, including paint projects. Yes. So we talked about that last week, and we've talked about it a few times. I've said it, that you have to become uncomfortable. You have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think that is so true for moving forward in life, period. I think that we kind of maybe get into this mindset of like, this is how our life is, and you know, maybe it will change someday, but it's not going to change until you change it, until you make a decision to change it. And I always say, like, you're not going to just like wake up one day and be like, oh, you know what? I'm not afraid to do that thing anymore. Or I don't feel badly about this thing anymore. Or I don't feel sad about this thing anymore. That's never going to happen. It's just not. It's something that you have to work at. So I have become comfortable with being uncomfortable. I read a book, and I shared this with you guys quite a few years ago, called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And it was really empowering, because it taught you about fear in like a really concrete manner of like what it can do to you, and how to kind of deal with it. So I would highly recommend that book if you are feeling like you need to move forward in something and you can't. Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway is a great book. But basically that's what it talks about, is that you have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And at some point it just becomes second nature. You know, anything that we do becomes a habit. So they say it takes about 21 days or 28 days, I think, to form a habit. So if you practice being uncomfortable for 28 days, it will become habit, and then it won't feel so bad. So you want to kind of definitely get into that mindset. And I always talk about that with customers regarding paint projects, because I think that's a barrier for some people. That it's like barrier to entry with jumping in for paint projects is because you're just afraid. And really, if you just settle into the fact that it's okay for you to be uncomfortable, you know, it makes it a little bit easier. So that's my sweet tip of the day. I'm glad it helped, Donna. I appreciate that. I think those were all my questions today. So I love it. I love it. I love it. So Valerie was still watching. Excellent. Excellent. Eileen, I'll be getting in touch with you very, very shortly. Patty, I'll also be getting in touch with you, girl. I have some things for you. So that's it. Those are all our questions for today. Thank you so much for another awesome Q&A session. I love seeing the questions that you guys have for us. And you know, I feel like we're probably about 15 or 16 days away from opening up. We'll see about that. So I'm really excited. I can't wait to connect with you guys again. I do want you to know that as a company, we'll be taking every precaution that we can as far as safety goes. We probably will be encouraging some by appointment stuff in the beginning as we kind of ease into this. So stay tuned for more details on that. I do want to just quickly mention a couple of things that I keep talking about, you know, in my videos. And, you know, I think it's so important to maintain our mental health right now. I've had some family members that have dealt with some mental health issues during this time, and it can be really, really sad. So if you feel like you need help, please reach out to somebody. You can reach out to us. You know, we're happy to. Sometimes we say we feel like we're therapists because we help people kind of, you know, get through their projects. So I would highly encourage you to reach out to somebody and talk to them. But some tips on how to, you know, maintain that mental health. I mean, it's crazy. When I was an adolescent, I dealt with depression. So I'm speaking from experience here. You get into this place in your head and you think that that is just the way that it is and that there's no other option. And, you know, for me, for a long time, it was like, you know, I thought I had to take medicine, and I did. And that always made me feel junky. And then something happened, and I decided that I was going to change my thoughts. And I did this kind of as I did it kind of like as an out of a spite thing, because I was reading Joel Osteen. This was when I first started Mary Kay, and Joel said that if you change your thoughts, you can change your life. And I thought he was full of crap. So I said, I'm going to try this for a few days, and I'm going to prove this guy Joel wrong. Well, here I am, I don't know, 20 years later, and it has completely changed my life. So your thoughts can absolutely change your life. So if you're feeling like those thoughts are getting away from you and you're going into a downward spiral, you need to make a decision to change those thoughts, and get your mind in a different direction. You know, get your body moving, do some yoga. I keep telling you guys, turn on yoga. Go to YouTube. I mean, for crying out loud, like literally everything that you could possibly want is at your fingertips with YouTube. If you want to learn how to do something, just YouTube it. YouTube has tons of yoga videos. I personally love Beachbody On Demand. I've been telling you guys about that for a long time too. Super, super easy. You know, you can watch it anytime. The programs are great. Get your body moving. That will certainly help. Turn off the news. Stop watching Governor Cuomo's, all his, you know, daily briefings, because you know what? You can read it in a bulleted article on Newsday later on today. And nothing that crazy earth-shattering. We don't need to be glued to the television 24/7 watching news. If you want to glue yourself to the television, then turn on something like HGTV or the Food Network, or I don't know, something that's going to be uplifting or Joel Osteen. There you go. You can watch Joel. So get your body moving, get your mind in a positive direction. Put positive into your head. Even if you're not watching television, some other things that you can do. I've been telling you guys, I love K-Love 95.5. It's a fantastic radio station, positive, uplifting music. I know it sounds cheesy to listen to Christian music, but it's not. It's all positive words. The beats are great. You're going to love it. It's like listening to the regular radio station, but all the words are positive instead of not positive. And then another thing is have something to look forward to. So I think this is so important, and this is so important just all the time. I love what I do. I absolutely love my job. I love my company. I love the fact that we can pivot, we can turn, we can do whatever we want in this design and decorating world. But everybody needs something to look forward to. So, even if you don't have like a big vacation coming up, or a big house renovation planned, or, something really big in your life. I remember when we were getting married, like the wedding, that was like a big thing. I was so engulfed in all of the planning details and everything. And then it ended and you're like, oh my God, now what do I do? So, just have little things every day that you look forward to and be grateful for those things. Like I've told you guys, I love coffee. So my husband bought this really ridiculous espresso machine for Christmas for me. And I think I've maybe bought Starbucks like 5 times since then. So I've saved a lot of money on coffee by having this espresso machine that I wanted to kill my husband for buying for me. But I absolutely love it. And it's something that I look forward to every single day. So even at nighttime, if I know tomorrow is going to be maybe a crappy day, or I'm really going to be really busy, or I don't have a lot of time to myself, I know that I'm going to be able to have that cup of coffee in the morning, and it's going to taste so good. And it's like that little morning ritual. So I try to kind of focus on that. So that's something really little that you can have to look forward to, but just having that it's really, really empowering. And then also just, thinking ahead to things that you could look forward to. Like right now we are planning a little bit of a renovation. So it's an exciting time to just start thinking about that and strategizing for it. It's really nice to be able to have something to look forward to, and it definitely helps with the mental outlook. And like I said, you have to sometimes create those things. It may not be something that you can, maybe you can't afford to do what you want to do, but there's something that you can do to look forward to. And I think just keeping that positive outlook, it's important. And it kind of also reflects on like God, we can, if we are looking forward to things, we're being grateful to things, and God can bring more into our life. And if we're just feeling so down and depressed about the things that we don't have, it's really hard for us to, accept things into our life. So we have to be open, and we have to be positive and happy and grateful. And there's always something that we can find to be grateful for. And that's what I'm trying to focus on during this crazy, crazy time. And, just strategizing and planning for when I could see you guys all again in person in our store. So we're excited for that. So thank you so much for watching today. Thank you for always tuning in with us. We are overwhelmed by the outpouring of support from our amazing customers, friends, team members. I feel really, really blessed in this journey, and we're looking forward to a really exciting rest of 2020. We have some pretty exciting stuff. We're planning some really beautiful displays for your return. And we're actually going to be doing a shop tour this Thursday at 12 o'clock. Thursday at 12 o'clock at the store. We're going to be doing a shop tour. And this is the last time that you're going to see the store the way it looks on Thursday, because we're going to be doing a major reset. And we're pretty excited about that. So when you guys do return to the store in a couple weeks, you'll have some fresh new things to look at for sure. So stay tuned. Tune in on Thursday. We'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks. Thanks for watching. Want to learn more? Subscribe now.